What's up YouTube? It's your favorite go-kart enthusiast. This is my YouTube channel and today we're gonna continue working on this go-kart restoration project. Last video you seen me clean this motor, do some maintenance to it, fresh oil, plugs, filter, clean the carb, repainted it. This thing turned out amazing. I set it on here just so it would stop hopping around when I tried to start it. This thing runs amazing, but we're gonna take it back off the cart, put it somewhere safe so that we can continue working on the frame. So this piece of floor pan metal that used to be here on the go-kart is a little too pitted and corroded for my liking because I'm trying to replicate the factory decal and I just don't think it's gonna adhere to this as good with it not being flat. So we got a new piece of metal. I'm gonna trace it, cut it, and take it to my dad's so that I can use his welder and get the new floor pan welded up. The axle bearings, torque converter, chain are all coming by the end of this week. So hopefully I can have this thing majority put together and painted by the end of this week. And then it's just gonna be sourcing that last tire that I need, or more like a wheel. I wanna find the matching wheel, get those babies painted, get new tires on them, and get this cart done. So let's cut this pan out, toss the cart in the pan in my truck, head to my dad's, and get this thing welded. If you guys made it this far into the video, it would mean the world for me if you guys liked, commented, and subscribed on this video. I put a lot of effort into these. May not seem that way, but I do. So if you made it this far, help me out. Subscribe to my channel, mother. Old floor pan, new floor pan. Jeff Gates, take one.
I kind of cut your head off. You did that too soon.
The gas on? I can tell.
No, it's not.
We got a package, let's open it up. You wanna open it? Alright, let's open it. Let's see what we got. What do you think it is? What do we got, dude? Oh, you know what this is? It's go-kart parts. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, go-kart parts. Let's see what we got. The sprocket. Check it out. A 62 sprocket for your go-kart. Yeah. Fist bump. Boom. Check out all the new parts that we got for our go-kart restoration project. We got a torque converter, all the bits and pieces there for that. New brake, I don't know what that would be called. It's not a rotor. Whatever the pad rides on. Axle mounts that I'm gonna weld on, they're definitely more beefy. A lot more beefy than the ones that came on it. I'll cut those out and weld these ones on. New sprocket, new bearings. Yeah, we're in business, boys. I'm just waiting for the axle to come in and I'll be able to get this thing fully painted and assembled. So I'm getting super excited because it's almost time that we get to actually fire this thing up and drive it for the first time. That's gonna be so exciting. I'm just gonna be fitting this torque converter I got off Amazon to this 3.5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton and just make sure it's all going to actually work, because yeah, I don't know if that motor's meant to have this. I know it's the same axle or the same shaft size, but I don't know if the length is correct or what, but we'll figure it out. I'm gonna put it on the workbench and get started. Alright guys, I had to take a quick break from filming because lo and behold, I'm fishing on Marketplace. I'm throwing low balls out left and right. This one just happened to hit in the middle of me making this video. You won't believe it. It's another go-kart. I paid 80 bucks for this one, and you know, I'm like messaging every go-kart just trying to get a deal. I'm just trying to get a deal. You know, I can't blame a guy for trying to get a deal. And you know, I'm getting turned down left and right. What are the odds that the one guy who accepts my offer happens to have the exact same go-kart? Another Clipper Pathfinder. And guess how much I paid for it? 80 freaking bucks. 80 bucks. What are the odds that I'm sending all these messages and the guy that happens to accept my offer ends up being the exact same go-kart, not only the exact same go-kart, but the exact same price? It's like the world's trying to tell me something. It's like the world's trying to tell me, Jeff, don't stop buying go-karts. Anyways, I'm gonna get this thing out of the truck real quick, put it in a little spot or something, probably put it back there, and set it aside for a future project. Maybe it's the right candidate for the 8 horsepower Briggs with the turbo. So that could be the next video series. What do you guys think? You guys will have to let me know. Should I do 8 horsepower turbo, Predator 212, 5 horse, try to get the Briggs back on it? We'll figure out something with it though, for sure. Got a slight dent in front, but honestly, the frame's still pretty straight. So what I'll do with this car is I'll probably take one of these wheels that actually matches the other wheel and steal it, and then when it's time to build this one, we'll just get all new wheels and tires for it. Maybe I'll do like a big wheel in the back or something cool. Back to the video. So I got the motor on the bench. We're going to try to mock up this torque converter and make sure that it actually fits this motor. Okay guys, so I've got the torque converter mounted up, but it wasn't easy. The bolt that it came with was actually not the same size, so I had to use a tap and die and drill it out to the correct size and then tap it, and got the bolt to fit perfectly. So it's a pretty tight squeeze, but it's definitely gonna work. I'm gonna have to figure out something to do down here. You can see those bolt holes do not line up. Let me see if I can get a good shot. And it's because this torque converter's hitting, and I couldn't raise it because then it would hit the gas tank. So that's kind of how I had to let it sit on there. So my options are build spacers, raise the engine, drill new bolt holes, or I can notch the actual engine mount platform so that it clears this torque converter and I can use the original holes. But this thing looks pretty dang sick with that torque converter on there. I'll put the cover on it too to show you what that looks like. Here's what it looks like with that protective cover on there. I think that looks pretty dang cool, and it'll be safe. We're in the middle of getting everything mocked up. That way we're not fiddling with it after it's painted, scraping everything up. We got Braden in the garage.
Yes, sir.
Local go-kart expert.
You could say that for sure.
People say it. I've heard them. So what we're gonna do next is I'm going to cut some spacers out of square stock to lift the motor so that the 2 sprockets, the drive sprocket and the main sprocket, can clear each other. When it's sitting on here, it's just too low with the way that the torque converter is angled and the way that I had to make it so that it could fit, that it'll touch sprockets. So I'm gonna create some spacers, cut them out of square stock, and send it. Okay, so I scrapped the square stock spacer idea because of obvious reasons. It looks like doo-doo. So I went to the hardware store, picked up some bolts and pieces, and I found these bushings and these long bolts. My idea is I'm going to weld these on both ends of this bushing so that it hugs that bolt tighter, and then use those as the spacers. And I think it'll just look more clean that way. Got it all mocked up. Check that out. Super sturdy. I barely even have it tightened down, so I think that's gonna work. And you can see back here, we now have clearance in between the two sprockets, so that should work out great. The chain's supposed to be here today, so hopefully I can get that up there, mock it up. All right, now that we know everything has proper clearance and should work, I'm gonna finish taking the motor off, wipe this thing down, and start painting it. Let's go. Alright guys, we got her all wiped down and degreased. Let's throw some paint on this thing. Farm and implement tractor paint. First coat of paint is all dry, or it's tacky, so we're gonna apply the second coat. Okay guys, so we got this thing fully painted. One problem is the chain that I ordered ended up being too small, so I'm gonna have to send it back and order another one before I can get the chain hooked up. But the plan is to get everything bolted back in and hooked up that we can. I know that we're missing the decal, the tires still, and we gotta build the bench for the seat.
Yes, sir. Gotta knock that shit out.
JJ decided to come get in on the go-kart action.
Dado? Dado?
Yep, back to the crappy montage. Okay guys, so I was able to get the chain on, but we have a problem. It's way too tight, and if I would have went a link longer, and since it's because it's the snap ring type of master link, you basically have to either go down one or up two with the way, I don't know. I don't know how to explain how the links work, but basically this is the only way I was able to get the chain to fit, and it's still way too tight, so we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna get the engine back off. I'm going to drill and cut extensions to these slotted holes for the engine mount so that I can move it forward just enough more to be able to loosen this chain up a bit. So let's do it. I'm gonna try to get this engine off without failing. Oh god, oh god, oh god. sight. Probably would have been a lot easier to take the master link off. Alright, I'm just gonna take the master link off. So we got the motor off. I made that way too hard on myself. It came right off once I took the chain off. So I've got these slots marked out where I'm going to drill them and then use the angle grinder to extend the slots. And that should allow the chain to have enough room to not be so tight. Let's get to it. Okay, so I got this one drilled and cut. As you can see, bolt now slides a little bit further. I'm gonna do that to the rest of the slots, and then we'll test fit the engine and see if the chain has enough slack to my liking. So I've got all of the slots extended. It's not the prettiest, but let's put the engine on and see if the chain has enough slack. We got the engine all mounted up. It's as far forward as it'll go. Got the chain on. Check it out. We do have a little bit of slack. You can't really see it on the camera, but I'm hoping that the chain will still stretch out a little bit because it is a new chain, new sprocket, all that. So I'm sure it'll stretch out a little bit, and then that'll give me adjustment to scoot the motor back and tighten the chain. So let's fire it up and see if we can get the axle spinning. Okay, so it seems to be working perfectly, and now we are one step closer to getting this cart going. Next, I'm going to be building a seat out of the polyfoam, and I still gotta paint that seat, so I'm gonna build a seat. I'm gonna try my hand at upholstery, try to make a decent looking seat, get that mounted up, and we are so close to having this thing done. Cutting this top portion thinner so that it doesn't protrude out so much past the actual seat cushion. Check that out. Alright guys, I might have outdid myself on this go-kart seat. Check that out. I think it's really cool because it almost looks like an old school truck bench seat. And this definitely has a lot more cushion than the one that came on at stock. I still have to paint the actual seat, sand it down a little bit. Come on, like that's pretty cool. I'm really feeling proud of this. Anyways, let's continue working on this bad boy. I'll get the actual seat painted, bolted in. I'll start getting the steering wheel on, some of the linkages and all the steering components, and get this thing put back together. I also picked up some paint for the wheels, so I'll get the tires off, get the wheels painted, probably stick them on here. I'm just waiting for the tires to come in the mail, and I'll be able to toss those babies on, and that'll be pretty freaking close to getting this thing done. I still have to figure out a throttle cable. I actually found a little spring in the Menards parking lot, and it allowed the throttle to do this. Because this was off a pressure washer, so typically it would be give it some gas and you could set it at whatever idle you want. But now, check it. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna do with the throttle cable is there's a screw hole here and also here. Thinking I can source some little type of bracket to clamp the throttle cable to, and then cut a slit and do something where I can slide the cable in and maybe bolt it. Maybe thread something in there, self-tap it, and then that way I'll be able to actuate the throttle. Actually, that's the wrong one, it's this one. So I'll be able to actuate the throttle. Anyways, let's continue putting this thing together. Psych, this video's getting way too long and I'm taking way too long to post it. I'm trying to get these things out weekly and it just ain't working out. It ain't working out. So I'm gonna completely finish the go-kart build in the next video. I promise, it's gonna be finished. We're gonna be doing test rides. We're gonna get JJ's reaction. It'll be awesome. I also spent some time cleaning the garage. That way I can have more space and room for projects. So that's it for me this week. Look out next week for another video. Until then, peace.